Let's build the perfect AFL midfielder with the attributes of speed, agility, kicking, handballing, marking, tackling, IQ, endurance, goals, strength, and overall. Well, the best in my opinion. Starting off with speed, and there are many fast midfielders. There's Zach Butters, there's Max Holmes, there's Shea Bolton. There is a plethora of really fast midfielders, but I've chosen for a guy who actually outran Zach Merritt in one of the finals, and that was Max Holmes. A bit of a rogue shout, but watching him in 2024, or watching Geelong, his speed just shocked me. He's so fast, and statistically they might be faster, but I don't give a fuck. He's my guy for speed. For agility, you know, the player's ability to be agile, to be nimble, to be in, out. It's Nick Daicos. I think Nick Daicos, his agility is one of his great attributes. And I think in the competition, there's not any more agile than Nick Daicos. Quite evasive. And I think about him when I think of agility. Kicking now, and for my left foot kicker, who I think is the best kick in the comp for a midfielder, Zach Merritt. Pretty damn simple. Right foot, there are a lot of players. Most players are right-footed, but I've gone with Nick Daicos again. I think Nick Daicos is so good at those little change of angle kicks, and that's why I've got him in there. Handballing, look, we're going to do both handball and Lachie Neale. I think Lachie Neale he's not amazing, look, he's an amazing handballer, but what his true strength comes of in the handballing department is the ability to do the fake handballs, the subtle, body feints. And he does it better than anyone else. Marking is Marcus Bontempelli. He's tall, he's strong in the air, defensively and attacking wise, he's a great marker. Tackling, I could choose him as well, the Bont, but I'm just going to go with Matt Rowell. So many tackles, pretty much every year he's top 3 of the tackle count. And as a defensive midfielder, it doesn't get too much better than him, although Rowe Bottom is starting to creep into that conversation. IQ is Scott Pendlebury. While Scott Pendlebury is playing the game of football, no one's football IQ could be any higher. It's a simple fact, and it's a simple truth. Endurance, this is also something that I'm sure statistically there's a player like Lachie Whitfield. I'm sure the wingers can get a lot of love, but I'm talking about midfielders. And if I think of a player with good endurance, who's a good two-way runner, I'm just going to go with Patrick Cripps. Not mainly because he's obviously got great endurance, but you've got to have the Brownlow winner in one of these categories. And right now, I think he belongs there, and that's my endurance aspect. Goals! Who kicks the most goals? Once again, I'm not really using statistics to back this up. I'm also using the eye test. And the player who's the best at goal kicking, I mean, you could list so many attacking midfielders. It's ridiculous. DeGoey, Petrarca, so many players, Warner, but I am going to go with Isaac Heaney. And I probably could have gone for Heaney for marking as well, but I've chosen him for goals instead. Strength. Who is the strongest midfielder in the comp? There are some big-bodied players. Ollie Wines, Patrick Cripps. But when I think of strength, I think of a guy who's really hard to tackle and who's also a really good tackler and is just strong as fuck. And I've got Jack Viney, purely because the fend-off that was attempted on him by Mav Weller when he played for St Kilda, that was an iconic moment that really reminded me how strong that man is. And finally, overall, who do I think is the best out-and-out midfielder? Who has, if all these traits could be out of 10, there's 11 traits out of 10, the max score you can get is 110, who has the highest score? And I think that player belongs to, or the trait of overall belongs to Marcus Bontempelli. And I think he narrowly defeats Daicos for me. And then you've got players like Cripps, Neale, etc, etc. But for me, despite the fact that Brownlow hasn't in recent years resembled it, the Marcus Bontempelli is the best midfielder. Now, this is very much a different video. Wow, I am back. And I thought I would just mention some maybe changes I would make from this upon reflection. Marking has to be Isaac Heaney. I mean, I guess I went for the Bont because he can defensively mark pretty well, intercept marks, but Heaney literally took this specky. I mean, come on. How could I not put him? Tackling, I would maybe go with Newcomb instead, but I understand why I went Matt Rowell, just got the most. In reality, if Jack Viney did come up against Patrick Cripps in a strength off, in a tackle off, anything that requires strength in football, who would win? Probably Patrick Cripps, but you know what? That's a bit boring. And one last thing I wanted to mention, that this is all current. Obviously, I am taking into account only 2024 and, that season. So doesn't matter how good you were in 2020, 2010, you don't make the list, obviously. But hey, is what it is. And the comments are going to be important in this. So let me know, where have I gone wrong? who is the best midfielder for every attributes? And if you had to build the perfect midfielder, who would it be? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.